My name is Sarah, and I'm 24 years old. At 3 in the morning, I was crumpled in our bathroom doorway, clutching my swollen stomach as another wave of nausea hit. Blood trickled from my split lip where his ring had caught me. The cramping in my abdomen was getting worse, and I knew something was terribly wrong with my pregnancy. But what shattered me most was watching my mom lean against the hallway wall, scrolling through her phone as Marcus shoved me again. Please, Mom, something's wrong with the baby, I gasped, reaching toward her with trembling hands. She barely glanced up from her screen and said coldly, "You brought this on yourself." But what she said next would haunt me forever. Before I continue, please like and subscribe if this story resonates with you. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. My life wasn't always like this nightmare. Growing up, I had dreams of becoming a teacher, just like my dad before he passed away when I was 16. Thomas Chen was my hero, patient and encouraging, always pushing me to reach higher. He taught high school English and would spend hours helping me with my college essays. "Education opens every door, sweetheart," he would say while reviewing my scholarship applications. He made sure I understood the value of independence and self-worth. I never imagined how crucial those lessons would become. After Dad died in a car accident, Mom and I grew closer than ever. Linda Chen, my beautiful mother with her warm smile and gentle nature that I thought I'd inherited. She worked as a nurse at the local hospital, always caring for others, always putting family first. We supported each other through the grief, staying up late, talking about Dad's memory and planning my future. I would make her favorite jasmine tea when she had difficult shifts, and she would help me practice for college interviews on weekends. We had our rhythm, and it helped us heal together. I threw myself into my studies, determined to honor Dad's memory. His emphasis on education had shaped my values, and I became the student who earned every scholarship and worked multiple jobs to pay for college. By my junior year studying elementary education, I had developed strong organizational skills and a clear vision for my career. Working as a tutor at the University Writing Center gave me even more confidence in my abilities and passion for teaching. Then Marcus entered our world. Mom met him 2 years ago at the hospital where he worked as a pharmaceutical sales representative. She called me at college, sounding lighter than she had in years. "I've met someone special, Sarah. He's so attentive and really seems to care about our family." I was genuinely happy for her. Dad had been gone for 6 years, and she deserved companionship and joy again. When I came home for spring break, I met Marcus Rivera for the first time, handsome with dark hair and an infectious laugh. He seemed perfect for Mom. He brought her expensive flowers, hung on her every word, and even asked detailed questions about my education goals. "A future teacher. That's wonderful," he said, squeezing my shoulder. "Your mother raised such an ambitious daughter." Their relationship progressed rapidly. By summer, he had moved into our house, and by fall, they were engaged in an intimate ceremony. I served as maid of honor, genuinely thrilled to see Mom glowing with happiness again. If I noticed warning signs during their whirlwind courtship, I pushed away my concerns. After all, they were both mature adults. Why question their timeline? It was only after their honeymoon that I began discovering troubling details about Marcus's past. He had been married twice before, both relationships ending in bitter divorces due to what he called misunderstandings and his ex-wife's instability. His charm made these red flags sound like unfortunate circumstances rather than patterns of behavior. Looking back now, the controlling behaviors started immediately. The way he would interrupt Mom's phone conversations with me, how he gradually suggested her longtime friends were negative influences who didn't support their relationship. The fact that he always had opinions about her spending, her work schedule, her family time. But these incidents felt minor, scattered between genuine moments of affection and care that made me dismiss my growing uneasiness. My visits home became less frequent as I focused on student teaching requirements and graduation preparations. Each time I returned, subtle changes had occurred in our family dynamic. The house felt different, conversations more guarded. Mom seemed anxious, constantly checking with Marcus before making even simple decisions. "Can I ask Marcus first?" became her automatic response to almost every question I posed. Our phone calls grew shorter and more superficial. When I would ask how she was really doing, she would quickly redirect the conversation to ask about my student teaching or job application. Plans for her to visit me at school were made then canceled at the last minute when Marcus needed her help with work events or family obligations. I tried maintaining our connection, sending care packages with her favorite green tea and books I thought she would enjoy. Her thank you text seemed rushed, lacking the warmth and personal touches of our previous communications. When I asked direct questions about their relationship, her answers became increasingly vague and rehearsed. "Everything's wonderful, honey. Marcus takes such good care of me. Just busy with work and helping him settle into his new territory." By the start of my senior year, the emotional distance between us had grown into a chasm I couldn't understand how to bridge. The woman who had been my closest confidant after Dad died now felt like a polite stranger. I convinced myself this was natural, part of Mom building a new life and me becoming an independent adult. I wanted to believe she was truly happy, even as worry gnawed at me with each stilted conversation and missed family occasion. The first concrete sign that something was seriously wrong came during my Thanksgiving break visit. Mom had always been particular about our home's appearance and organization, habits formed from years of managing a household on her own while working full-time. Walking through the front door, I immediately noticed changes that set off alarm bells. The flower garden she had lovingly maintained was withered and neglected. Mail was stacked haphazardly on the kitchen counter, and a strange, musty smell permeated the living room, though neither Mom nor I had ever been smokers. In the kitchen, I discovered a past due notice from the mortgage company tucked behind the coffee maker. When I asked about it, Mom quickly snatched it away, her face flushing with embarrassment. "Just a small mix-up with the payment processing," she said with forced brightness. "Marcus is handling all our finances now. It's much more efficient this way." I later learned that Marcus had convinced Mom to consolidate their money into accounts he controlled, supposedly to maximize their investment potential and streamline their budget management. His sales job, which had seemed stable when they met, apparently involved significant travel and unpredictable commission structures, yet his spending continued unabated: expensive dinners, golf equipment, weekend trips with colleagues, while Mom picked up extra shifts at the hospital to cover their basic expenses. "Mom, are you comfortable with this financial arrangement?" I asked carefully one evening, noticing she was wearing scrubs that looked worn compared to her usual professional attire. "Of course, sweetheart," she replied quickly. "Marcus has such a good head for money. His investment strategies will pay off beautifully once his new territory gets established. You know how sales works? Lots of upfront costs before the big returns come through." One afternoon, I overheard them arguing in their bedroom about money. "The mortgage payment is 3 weeks late, Linda. We're gonna lose this house." Mom's voice was strained with panic. His response chilled me to the bone. "Stop being so dramatic. If you worked more overtime instead of constantly worrying about every little thing, maybe I could focus on building our future instead of dealing with your negativity all the time." The emotional manipulation extended far beyond financial control. Marcus would make cutting comments about my education whenever I visited. "Must be nice living in that ivory tower while your mother works herself to exhaustion, paying for your dreams," he remarked once as I graded student papers at the dining table. When I reminded him that I paid my own expenses through scholarships and work-study programs, he waved dismissively. "Playing teacher at the university isn't real work, princess. Some of us have to function in the actual business world." His resentment toward my independence became increasingly obvious, though he disguised it as concern for Mom. "All that money spent on your degree, and for what? You could be helping support your mother instead of chasing fairy tales about changing the world through teaching." The holidays became tense, controlled affairs. Marcus determined guest lists, conversation topics, and even meal timing. The warm, open celebrations of my childhood were replaced by carefully orchestrated events where Mom spent more time monitoring Marcus's mood than enjoying our company. Her friends gradually stopped visiting. Her sister, my Aunt Jennifer, called me with concerns after being turned away during an attempted surprise visit. Marcus said, "Your mom was dealing with a migraine and couldn't see anyone," but I heard her voice in the background asking who was at the door. Something doesn't feel right, Sarah. The physical warning signs began appearing about 8 months before everything exploded. During a weekend visit, I noticed Mom flinching when Marcus moved suddenly near her. "Did you hurt yourself at work?" I asked after watching her wince while reaching for dishes in the cabinet. "Just pulled a muscle, lifting a patient wrong," she said quickly. "I'm getting clumsier as I get older." She tugged her sleeves down, but not before I glimpsed what looked like finger-shaped bruises on her forearm. I began noticing more troubling evidence during subsequent visits. Mom's startled reaction whenever Marcus called her name loudly, significant weight loss that made her nursing uniforms hang loose on her formerly healthy frame, dark circles under her eyes that concealer couldn't fully hide, the way she seemed to hold her breath whenever Marcus entered a room. During one particularly tense weekend, I found Mom sitting alone in the kitchen at 2 in the morning, staring blankly out the window. "Mom, please talk to me," I begged, sitting beside her at the table. "Whatever's happening, we can figure it out together." She wiped away tears I hadn't noticed falling. "Your marriage is complicated, Sarah. Marcus is under tremendous pressure with his job territory changes. Things will stabilize once his commission structure improves. This is just a rough patch that all couples go through." Back at school, I researched domestic abuse warning signs online, feeling sick as I recognized pattern after pattern in Mom's situation. I called Aunt Jennifer, sharing my fears about the changes I'd observed. "I've been worried too," she confirmed. "I've invited her to stay with me multiple weekends, but she always has excuses about Marcus needing her help with work functions or family obligations. I don't know how to reach someone who won't admit they need help." I secretly saved money from my tutoring jobs, creating an emergency fund in case Mom needed to escape quickly. I printed articles about domestic violence resources and safety planning, keeping them in a folder I hoped I'd never need to use, but feared I would. I started calling Mom more frequently, trying to maintain our connection despite Marcus's obvious attempts to limit our communication. The situation reached its breaking point in early March of my senior year. I received a panicked call from Mom on a Wednesday evening, her voice unnaturally strained and high-pitched. "Sarah, honey, I need to ask you about something important regarding your future plans." Alarm bells immediately started ringing in my head. She had never sounded this anxious about my career plans before. "Marcus has found an incredible business opportunity," she continued rapidly, clearly reading from notes. "The returns would secure our family's financial future, but we need startup capital immediately." In the background, I could hear Marcus coaching her responses. Tell her about the guaranteed profit margins. The conversation that followed marked the beginning of intense pressure that would only escalate over the coming weeks. They wanted me to take out student loans in my name, supposedly for additional education expenses, but actually to fund Marcus's latest investment scheme. The requests became more frequent and desperate, with daily calls and texts alternating between guilt trips and elaborate promises. "This opportunity won't wait forever," Marcus would say when he took the phone from Mom. "Family helps family. Sarah, your mother has sacrificed everything for your education. This is your chance to pay her back and secure all our futures." When logical explanations about my already substantial loan debt and upcoming graduation expenses failed to convince him, Marcus changed tactics entirely. "There are other ways to access money quickly. Your credit is excellent, and you're about to have a degree. Banks would be happy to work with someone in your position." I later discovered through my credit monitoring app that they had already made inquiries about loans using my personal information, which explained the recent activity I'd noticed. The deception felt like a knife to the heart, but worse was learning the real reason behind their desperation. My roommate Emma's boyfriend worked at a local bank branch. Through him, I learned that Marcus owed substantial gambling debts to people who resolved collection issues through methods that didn't involve traditional legal processes. This wasn't about a legitimate business opportunity at all. Every attempt I made to speak privately with mom was intercepted. Phone calls went straight to voicemail, followed by text messages clearly written by Marcus but sent from her phone. Stop trying to create problems in our marriage. Marcus is the only one who has ever truly supported me. If you really cared about my happiness, you would trust my decision. Finally, an ultimatum arrived. We need you home this weekend for a family meeting, Marcus demanded during a Friday afternoon call. The situation gets resolved now, one way or another. Mom's voice in the background sounded strained and defeated as she added, "Please, Sarah, just come home and listen to what we're proposing. It's really important." The implied threat in Marcus's tone made my decision. I would go home one last time, not to agree to their demands, but to try reaching mom directly and help her understand the dangerous situation we were all facing. I gathered documentation from my financial aid office showing my existing loan obligations and upcoming payment schedules. I prepared a folder of domestic abuse resources and information about local shelters and support services. Before leaving campus, I told Emma exactly where I was going and established a check-in schedule. "If you don't hear from me every 2 hours until Sunday evening, call this number," I said, giving her the contact information for campus security and the local police department. As I drove the familiar route to my childhood home, I alternated between determination and genuine fear. I never imagined it would be the last time I would see that house as the same person I had been for 24 years. I arrived around 7 on Friday evening. The yard that Mom had once maintained beautifully was now overgrown with weeds. Paint was peeling from the shutters, and the porch light flickered erratically in the gathering darkness. This neglect from a woman who used to plant seasonal flowers spoke volumes about her deteriorating emotional state. Marcus answered the door with exaggerated enthusiasm, pulling me into a hug. I didn't reciprocate. "There's our future businesswoman," he announced loudly, "ready to make some real money for this family." Mom stood behind him, thinner than I had ever seen her. Her smile looked painful, and her eyes darted nervously between Marcus and me throughout our interaction. "I made your favorite dinner," she said softly, though I could smell takeout containers in the kitchen, despite her claim of home cooking. The house felt oppressive, filled with an underlying tension that made every interaction feel performative and false. We ate Chinese takeout in uncomfortable silence, with Marcus making occasional comments about family loyalty and seizing opportunities while Mom barely touched her food. I tried engaging Mom in normal conversation about her work and friends, but Marcus consistently interrupted and redirected every exchange back to their financial situation and my role in solving their problems. He drank steadily throughout the meal, refilling his beer while Mom and I stuck to water. The strategy was obvious: delay any serious discussion until later, when alcohol might make me more compliant or him more unpredictable. After dinner, I offered to help Mom clean up, hoping for a private moment to talk. "That's not necessary," Marcus said firmly. "Linda, why don't you make coffee? It's time our daughter learned about real-world responsibilities and family obligations." He disappeared into the living room, returning with a manila folder containing loan applications already filled out with my personal information, requiring only my signature. The amount requested was $45,000, nearly equivalent to what I had already borrowed for my entire college education. "This is a guaranteed investment opportunity, Sarah," Marcus began, his sales pitch polished despite his alcohol consumption. 18 months, triple return on investment. You'll graduate debt-free and have money left over to start your teaching career properly. I took a deep breath and opened my own folder of financial documents. I brought information from my financial aid counselor. I said, spreading papers methodically across the table while using the calm, measured voice I had practiced. "What you're asking is not financially responsible or legal. Taking loans under false pretenses constitutes fraud, and I already carry substantial educational debt that requires careful management after graduation." I laid out my current obligations, post-graduation payment schedules, and entry-level teacher salary projections in clear, factual terms. Additionally, I've already accepted a teaching position for next fall, which required extensive background checks that would be compromised by any financial irregularities, or legal issues. Mom remained silent throughout my explanation, staring fixedly at the table while Marcus's expression grew increasingly hostile. Mom, whatever financial problems exist, there are legitimate resources available, I said, trying to address her directly. Credit counseling services, debt consolidation options, financial planning assistance. I'm happy to help research solutions, but not through illegal means that would jeopardize my career and future. That's when Marcus's facade of friendly persuasion completely cracked. He swept all the papers from the table in a violent motion, sending them scattering across the dining room floor. You selfish little brat, he snarled, his mask of civility completely gone. After everything we've done for you, everything your mother has sacrificed. He grabbed his half-empty beer bottle and hurled it against the wall, brown liquid and glass fragments exploding across the family photos hanging there. Mom gasped, but remained frozen in her chair, eyes downcast in what I now recognize as learned helplessness. I stood up, reaching for my purse and keys. I think I should leave now. This conversation isn't productive, and we can discuss this when everyone is calmer. You're not going anywhere, Marcus said, moving with surprising speed to block the doorway to the kitchen. Not until you sign those papers and stop acting like you're better than the family that raised you. There literally are no papers that would accomplish what you want, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady and reasonable. The loan applications require verification of intended use, and misrepresenting that information is fraud. Moving away from me or threatening me won't change legal and financial realities. The first shove caught me completely off guard, his hands connecting with my shoulders and sending me stumbling backward against the dining room table. The sharp edge caught me in the lower back, pain shooting through my torso and abdomen. Mom finally spoke, making a small sound that might have been the beginning of a protest. But Marcus silenced her with a look that made my blood run cold. This won't solve anything, I said, trying to edge toward the sliding door that led to our back patio. Let me leave, and we can talk when everyone has had time to think clearly about realistic solutions. His face transformed with rage, becoming something frightening and inhuman. You think you're so much smarter than everyone else with your college degree and your teaching job, he spat, walking around here like you're superior to the people who put a roof over your head and food in your mouth for 18 years. The first punch caught me across the jaw, sending explosions of light across my vision and the metallic taste of blood flooding my mouth. I stumbled backward, disoriented, and fell hard against the coffee table in the living room. The corner caught me in the ribs, and I heard something crack as intense pain radiated through my chest. I tried to scream for help, but could only produce choked sounds through the blood filling my mouth from where my teeth had cut my tongue and inner lip. Disoriented and struggling to focus through the pain, I could only register Marcus's threatening figure looming over me as I lay crumpled beside the overturned coffee table. Get up, he demanded, kicking at my already injured ribs. The pain was unlike anything I had ever experienced. Sharp and breath-stealing. Is this what you wanted? To destroy this family with your selfishness? I rolled onto my side, trying to protect my injured ribs and the growing pain in my abdomen that was starting to worry me for reasons beyond the immediate assault. Through my rapidly swelling eye, I saw Mom slowly descending the stairs, her face unreadable and distant. Mom, I gasped, reaching toward her desperately. Please help me. There's something wrong. I think I'm losing the baby. I hadn't told anyone about the pregnancy yet, barely 6 weeks along, and still processing the reality myself, but the cramping and bleeding that had started during Marcus's attack made the situation terrifyingly clear. Mom continued his assault, kicks now targeting my stomach and lower back. You could have prevented all of this with one signature, he screamed. One simple signature, and none of this would have happened. Through the haze of pain and growing medical emergency, I focused on the wall clock showing 3 in the morning. How had it gotten so late? How long had this been going on? Stop, I begged, no longer addressing Marcus, but looking directly at my mother. Mom, please make him stop. I'm pregnant and something's wrong. I began dragging myself across the hardwood floor, leaving a trail of blood from my split lip and what I feared might be signs of miscarriage. The distance to where Mom stood seemed impossible, but survival instinct drove me toward her, toward the protection and help I desperately hoped she would finally provide. When I finally reached her feet, I looked up through swollen eyes and grabbed onto her ankle. Mom, please help me, I whispered, blood and tears mixing on my face. I think I'm losing my baby. She looked down at me with cold detachment I had never seen before. Her face, which had once kissed away childhood hurts and sung me lullabies, now stared with complete emotional absence. You brought this on yourself, she said, her voice flat and unfamiliar. You should have just signed the papers and helped your family instead of being so stubborn and selfish. In that moment, something shattered inside me more completely than any physical injury could accomplish. As Marcus paused his attack, breathing heavily and watching this exchange with satisfaction, I clung to my mother's ankle in one final desperate plea for the protection and love I still couldn't believe she would deny me. She leaned down then, and for one fleeting second, I thought maternal instincts had finally emerged. Instead, she whispered words that severed our relationship permanently. You're not my daughter anymore, Sarah. Marcus is my family now, and you've made it clear you don't want to be part of this family. Those words cut through whatever remaining hope I had been clinging to in that devastating moment, absolute clarity. I understood that no help would come from the woman who had given birth to me and raised me for 24 years. If I was going to survive this night and save my pregnancy, I would have to find the strength entirely within myself. Through the fog of pain, betrayal, and medical emergency, I noticed my phone had fallen from my pocket during the struggle. It lay just a few feet away, screen cracked but still illuminated with notifications. Marcus had stepped back to confer quietly with Mom about what to do next, giving me a precious opportunity I might not get again. She could call the police, Mom hissed urgently. We need to think about how to handle this situation. She's not calling anyone, Marcus responded, reaching for a kitchen towel to wipe blood from his knuckles. Their momentary distraction was the opening I desperately needed. Gathering every ounce of determination I possessed, I began inching toward my phone, biting my lip to suppress screams as my injured ribs shifted and the abdominal cramping intensified with each movement. My fingers had just closed around the device when Marcus turned back toward me. What do you think you're doing? He roared, lunging in my direction. Pure survival instinct took over. I managed to dial 911 while rolling away from his approach. And when the dispatcher's calm voice answered, it was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. Help me, I screamed into the phone before Marcus could reach me. 24/7 Oakwood Drive. I'm pregnant and he's killing me. I managed to gasp our address before Marcus kicked the phone from my hand, sending it sliding across the floor toward the kitchen. You stupid little, he snarled, his face contorted with rage and panic. Do you have any idea what you've just done? Mom's reaction was immediate terror. The police, Marcus. What do we do now? They'll be here any minute, and there's blood everywhere. How do we explain this? Marcus grabbed my hair, yanking my head up painfully while I tried to focus through waves of nausea and the growing certainty that I was experiencing a miscarriage. Did they get the address? Did you give them the complete address? He demanded, slapping me when I didn't respond immediately. I don't know, I gasped, honestly, my thoughts scattered by pain and medical emergency. In my panic state, I wasn't certain whether I had provided enough information for emergency services to locate us. Marcus turned to Mom, cold calculation replacing the rage in his eyes. We need to get out of here before they arrive. Pack whatever cash and important documents we can grab quickly. Terror washed over me as I realized they intended to abandon me here, bleeding and potentially losing my baby, to face whatever consequences awaited when police arrived. The next few minutes became a blur of frantic activity as they rushed to gather belongings and escape before law enforcement could respond to my call. This is all your fault, Mom spat at Marcus as she stuffed cash and documents into a travel bag. You said this would be simple, that she would just cooperate. Now look what's happened. You are the one who just stood there watching," he shot back while grabbing his wallet and car keys. "You could have talked sense into her instead of letting it come to this." Their mutual recriminations quickly gave way to self-preservation instincts as the reality of their situation became clear. I heard Marcus say, "We leave now and figure out the rest later. Maybe she'll keep quiet if she knows what's good for her." Mom didn't even glance in my direction as she grabbed her purse and headed for the garage. 24 years of mother-daughter relationship ended with her stepping over my bleeding form without a word of concern or goodbye. "This isn't over," Marcus threatened as they prepared to flee. "You keep your mouth shut about what happened here if you want what's best for everyone involved." The sound of the garage door opening and their car backing out of the driveway left me alone in sudden, deafening silence. Severely injured and facing a medical emergency, I focused on staying conscious, knowing that losing awareness could mean losing both my life and my pregnancy. The adrenaline that had sustained me during the attack began fading, allowing the full extent of pain and injury to overwhelm my senses. My broken ribs sent sharp pain through my chest with every shallow breath. The abdominal cramping had intensified, and the bleeding confirmed my worst fears about the pregnancy. Metallic taste filled my mouth, and the hardwood floor felt ice cold against my cheek, where blood from my injuries had begun to pool. To keep myself conscious and alert, I began counting ceiling tiles in our living room, forcing my mind to focus on the simple mathematical task rather than the pain and fear threatening to consume me. 1, 2, 3. I made it to 42 before the distant sound of sirens penetrated my awareness. The sound grew steadily louder, becoming a lifeline pulling me back from the edge of unconsciousness I had been fighting. Red and blue lights flashed through our front windows, casting surreal shadows across the blood-spattered room. I heard shouting, then the sound of our front door being forced open with professional efficiency. "Police. Hello. Anyone here?" "Kitchen," I tried to call, but my voice emerged as barely a whisper through my damaged throat and swollen mouth. Footsteps approached rapidly, and suddenly the room filled with officers, weapons drawn and scanning for potential threats. "Here we have a victim," a female officer announced, kneeling beside me and holstering her weapon. "Ambulance is right behind us," she assured me, her touch gentle but professionally assessment-focused. "Stay with me." "What's your name?" "Sarah," I managed, tears of relief streaming down my face despite the pain. They left. My mom and stepfather, they did this to me, and I think I'm losing my baby. Paramedics rushed in immediately, their efficient movements becoming a blur of medical assessment and urgent radio communications, multiple injuries, possible internal bleeding, patient reports early pregnancy with complications. One reported into their radio, "We need to transport immediately." The process of being moved to a backboard and stretcher sent fresh waves of agony through my broken ribs and injured abdomen, but the paramedics worked with practiced care and obvious concern for both my immediate injuries and potential pregnancy complications. "You're doing great, Sarah," the lead paramedic encouraged as they secured my neck in a stabilization brace and prepared IV access. "Stay with us. We're going to take excellent care of you and check on your baby." As they lifted me onto the stretcher, I caught a glimpse of our living room, destroyed by violence and abandonment. Family photos hung crookedly on walls, stained with thrown beer and blood. The overturned furniture and scattered papers told the story of a family that had disintegrated completely in the span of a few horrific hours. This chapter of my life was ending permanently, sealed by betrayal and physical assault that would change everything about my future. As the ambulance doors closed behind me, I knew I would never return to that house or attempt to rebuild relationships with the people who had proven themselves capable of such devastating betrayal. The person I had been for 24 years was gone forever, but somewhere in the pain and loss, I sensed the possibility of someone stronger emerging from this destruction. Thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe. Share this with someone who might need to hear that survival is possible, even when the people who should protect us become the ones who hurt us most. Have you ever had to rebuild your life after betrayal by family? Let me know in the comments below. Your story matters too.